Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl, Kamie Crawford. And today we had to bring in the professionals because we need professional help.
Most of us do.
Most of us do. We have licensed clinical psychologist, professor, scientist, and host of the Monumental podcast, Dr. Raquel Martin. Welcome to the show.
It's so good to see you again.
It is so great to see you.
We had so much fun on that panel.
We did. I didn't want it to end.
It went by so quick.
I love a panel. So for those of you who don't know, if you're not clocked in, we did a panel at the Black Love Summit and you were the moderator. Fabulous moderation.
Thank you.
Incredible.
I feel like moderating is harder than just being on the panel.
It is hard because you set the pace and the tone for the entire panel.
And I'm from Philly. My pace is like... And
I told you, my man is from Philly.
Yes.
Philly people don't play.
That's why I'm like, in my mind, like, slow down. Don't. Okay.
But no, it was great. You asked like the right follow-ups. Like you made sure everybody got a chance to speak.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the most important thing. And I feel like people really got something out of it because they were listening intently. There was not a sound in the room.
I know. Yeah, everybody had such good things to say.
Yeah.
Because it was like vulnerability is a superpower. It was really good.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it.
I loved it. And after that, I was like, we have to have you on the show because I just love your content. I love what you talk about. Obviously, as a Black woman, I love the fact that in your practice, like race and gender do play roles. Always. And a lot of people, I think, I mean, I'm sure if you are a person of color, then you understand the nuances to mental health and how that is even brought up or not brought up in our community, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But even if you are someone who's dating interracially, like these are things that I think everybody should hear, even if it's not just dating, like friendships, like just knowing how people react, how they don't react, why they don't react. Those things, I feel like they're all just vital information. So I'm glad you are the one sharing it.
Yeah, it's important to like, just like you mentioned so many good layers. Like, it's like if you're in a relationship with the person, if you're working with the person, if you're going to be in community with Black people, people who don't look like you, historically excluded individuals, you need to understand the intricacies of how to engage with us because everyone engages differently. I used to teach this course, Parenting Black and Biracial Black Children. And whenever I talk about parenting Black youth, I say parent of Black children, not solely Black parents, because there are plenty of people who have Black children that are not Black, right? And I'm just like, this isn't solely for Black parents. This is for anyone who has a Black child.
Yes.
The ways you parent is going to have to be different. The way that if you're in an interracial relationship, the way you engage with these individuals, it's gonna have to be different because if anything goes down, like you need to understand that one person is going to be seen as the person who needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Other person may not. You need to do what you can to make sure that person is protected. Like you have to, sometimes people have to physically put their body in between their partner and someone who's lost their mind. And it's just, I think it's dangerous to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't look like you without understanding not only the way to engage with them, but the way the world engages with them. Because you should want to protect your partner.
Yes.
Like even with my husband as a Black man, anytime he take the trash out at night, I'm like, oh my God, please, I can't breathe. Please stop doing this. Like, and then he always take the trash out. He wearing a tank top. I'm like, sir,
no.
Ain't nobody about to get me in this subdivision. Shut it up.
Well, you never know.
You never know. That's why I'm like, please stop doing this. You had all day. The sun has set.
Yes.
Put a shirt on.
Yes.
My goodness.
No, people are crazy. It just reminded me of this neighbor that we have in Maryland where my family lives. A white man. He had never met my mom in person, so he didn't know that she was Black, I guess, because her voice... whatever. She's from Jamaica, but when she moved to the United States, she was like, I am assimilating to this accent. I am tired of being bullied for having an accent.
Yeah.
And so I guess he had like just talked to her on the phone. So he had never met her. He had an interaction with my dad, who was outside doing something outside, and the man's wife was like walking his dog and let the dog like pee in our lawn and like take a shit in our lawn, basically. And my dad was like, can you take your dog and your dog's business somewhere else? Anyway, long story short, this man called my mom and left a voicemail. I still have it on my phone. He was like, hi, Carla. This is Greg from down the street. I just wanted to let you know that one of your servants was very rude to my wife today.
Servant?
Servant.
It's like a glitch. It's like, you know, when they do that, that wheel, that buffering wheel.
I want you to know, it doesn't matter what my dad looks like, but he's a 6'4" Black executive, high level, C-suite executive. Okay? Of
oh my goodness.
Several Fortune 500 companies. Servant. Who even uses that language?
Your dad could have been in some cutoff shorts and haven't had a haircut in 5 months and still nobody serving. Like, that's
Thank
insane.
you. Thank you. Although I am sure that he was in his Cookie Monster blue Nike tracksuit, you know, typical suburban dad look.
What is it with the tracks? It's like at a certain age.
Yeah.
It's like the black man's outfit.
That's all they wear is a tracksuit.
It's a tracksuit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I love a coordinated set.
They look great.
I'm gonna lie to you. You look great.
They do look great.
You look good.
They do look great. But there are those levels that, you know, if you're not in those kinds of relationships, you might not realize, even on the colorism aspect of things, like being a lighter skinned woman, my man is brown skin. Like, I have to understand the differences in the way that he as a black man moves about the world and me as a lighter skinned black woman moves about the world. It's different.
I think it creates barriers. I think a lot of times people have a concern about like safety within relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dangerous to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't understand or grasp your experience.
Yeah.
What was that scene? It was a scene in Jungle Fever, Spike Lee's movie.
Mm.
Where Wesley Snipes was arguing with his girlfriend, and she not black. Well, his mistress. She not black. But at one point, the police came up, and she was just like, you know, they play fighting. As soon as the police come up, he said, like, stop. He said, stop. And she starts arguing with the police officers. Officers, I'm just having a conversation with my lover, and he's like, what the freak is wrong with you? I am a black man. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't have a conversation. That's dangerous. It's dangerous for you to be like, oh, we get treated the same way.
Yeah.
It's not solely like people have concerns about interracial relationships and that's your own business. Like, whatever. But safety. Like, yes, love is love and also safety. Because that's just not safe to be with someone who act like we all get treated the same.
Yes.
And it's also stupid.
Yeah. Come on. Come on.
Like, I'll say safety, but like, don't be dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Have some sense.
Well.
Doctor's orders.
Exactly. Thank you. The doctor told you so.
Don't be stupid. Doctor's order.
The doctor told you so. But that's so interesting. I love all of that work and I could talk about that all day. But today we are talking about a topic that affects everybody.
Yeah, in relationships or not.
Emotional unavailability.
Yeah.
And past trauma in relationships and how that affects your dating life. Can you define, because I feel like, and I don't know if it's just like pop culture or movies or what, but I feel like the term emotionally unavailable is thrown around a lot. And I'm like, what even is emotional unavailability? And what does that look like in relationships?
Yeah, I think it's anything that creates a barrier between being able to build a connection or build an in-depth relationship with someone. And sometimes I think one thing that people get wrong is that a lot of times they'll just think it's disinterest or indifference, and it's not always disinterest or indifference. For a lot of people, it's also survival mode. And this unavailability, like this wall, I would just say think about it as a wall between, I don't know, colleague and friend, or dating someone and we together for a relationship. Like, it's anything that gets in the way of that. And it can be, that wall can be built up. It can be based on fear. It can be based on trauma. It can be based on indifference. Because I'm not going to give everybody it out and say, oh, well, my trauma has gotten in the way of this relationship. No, you dating 20 other people and you decide I'm person number 20 in the hierarchy instead of number 1. Is the thing that also has the unavailability. Because one of the biggest things is in relationships that all of us have to deal with, whether it's friendship or work or romantic relationship, some people are just going to decide you're not worth it, right? Worth the time or the energy. And that has nothing to do with the actual amount of worth you have. And it's also not your job to convince them. Yeah. And one thing I see in relationships a lot as a psychologist, as someone who's friends with individuals that are single, is they'll waste their present on a future that may never come, right? Like I'm falling in love with potential. One day I won't have to send them like a double, triple text, or one day maybe they will open up to me. And it's one thing if they're trying, like you guys have talked about it and addressed it and you're working on it. But if you've never addressed it, or if you have and no change has been made, you're falling in love with potential, and that person may never become that person, and you're wasting your present on a future that may never come.
Yeah.
Like, why?
We
don't have time to waste.
Your good fine years.
On someone who just has decided that, like, you're not worth it. And sometimes people will stay in relationships because they're like, well, I don't want all the work that I put in on this person to go to someone else.
Yeah.
But the thing that was never about you, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, it sucks, but it was never going to be you. They decided that other person was worth it. Maybe they're at a better place in their life. Maybe they care about that person more. It sucks, but don't hold on to a mistake just because you spent so long making it. I used to do this all the time, especially with writing papers. I used to just be like, well, this is not the best couple of pages, but it took me so long to write these couple of pages. So instead of deleting it, I'm just going to keep two-thirds of this is just going to be trash because I took a lot of time writing it. And it's like, don't hold on to a mistake just because you spent so much time making it. Like, I don't want to put in all this time and the next woman gets the good one or the next man gets the good one. It was never going to be you. And it sucks. But it was never going to be you.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Done that.
That's
got
their
my
decision.
t-shirt.
Yes. And that has nothing to do with your worth.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you. They may have that aspect of unavailability. They may need time to process. You have to decide if you want to process that with them, if they want to put forth the effort. One of the things I told one of my clients in terms of like, oh, I stay with this person because they love me, or I keep being friends with this person because I've known them for forever. Two of the biggest things that I see get in the way of walking away from someone are nostalgia and loneliness.
That nostalgia will get you every motherfucking time. It will
lock your behind in. But I said, like, I want you to think about it this way. You're staying with this person because you love them and you say they love you. If they could not say that they loved you, if they could not verbalize it, would their actions show that they love you? Like, take away like them say, oh, I love you and I want to be there with you and stuff like that. Like, let's talk about their actions. Are those the actions of someone that you would expect to love you? Because sometimes we get stuck on the words, and honestly, words matter to a certain extent. But if the words aren't aligning with the action, you go with the action.
Yes.
They're saying they love you. They don't call you back. They're saying they're going to be with you eventually, but eventually has come and gone. They're saying they want to be with you, but they're not actually spending time with you. They're saying they want that emotional investment, but the only thing you talk about is their day while you're stripping off your clothes. I could not possibly care less what you say.
Somebody just turned off the podcast. Somebody just said, it's too much.
I need you to look at the action.
Not too much, Dr. Raquel.
Stop reading the text. Think about your last encounter. Because words, half of them chat GPT in that thing anyway. Listen. I done messed up again.
Yeah.
Help me get her back and make her think it's real. It's not. Wow. It's not. And you don't need to be in session to do this. Y'all got this for free. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You do. You have gut instincts and intuition for free.
Yes.
For free.
Like, don't stop pushing that. It just feels, I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting. I don't think so.
No.
You're probably not.
No. It's making you literally physically ill. It makes your stomach feel like you're literally in knots.
Yes.
You're crying every single night. Every time they text you, your heart is beating rapidly because they're finally giving you attention.
Yep.
That's not you overreacting.
You're worried about being a novelty. You're wondering why you only get contacted during certain times of the day. Y'all been together for a minute, but yet y'all have never spent a holiday together. That's because they're spending the holiday with their partner. That's why. That's why.
True.
It's so, come on.
It's the truth.
Someone posted like, they made this joke like, oh, it's Valentine's Day and I haven't heard from this person since before Valentine's Day. And I'm like, oh, that's because they proposed to their girlfriend on Valentine's Day.
That's and you're not going to hear from them again.
Yeah, give that man a week to be a good person. He might come. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I don't know why I stopped hearing from him right before Valentine's Day and after. That's because he proposed on Valentine's Day to his girlfriend.
He was busy, down on one knee.
He's a little busy, you know,
with that little blue box. Motherfuckers.
Recorded everything. Had the family there. Had his boys who you cool with, but they know damn well that he was. That's why. That's why, girl. That's why you ain't here for me. And it's not just men. It's not just men. It's not just like, that's why, sir.
No, you literally. Oh my God.
Yeah, you were on standby.
Gagged
but
me
the one she liked, he proposed. So
gagged me.
Sorry for you, but it's time to move on. It's what's best.
And you know what's crazy? It's always that. Like, I can't tell you how many girlfriends that I have who they're dating somebody and the guy's like, oh, I'm just not ready for a relationship. I'm emotionally unavailable. I. All these excuses that seem like excuses at the time, but you know, you might be like, oh, okay, at least they were honest with me.
Yeah.
The next person they get with, they're walking down the aisle.
Yep.
There's a proposal set up, roses everywhere. Will you marry me in big light up letters? But for you, it was, I'm not ready.
Exactly, because it wasn't going to be you. And a lot of times you will see people beating themselves up like, what does she have that I don't have? What does he have that I don't have? It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Together, it didn't work. They couldn't see your worth, but that has no bearing on your worth. That it's not your job to convince someone of your worth. I don't think anyone needs to be in a relationship where they're tolerated. You need to be celebrated. I get asked, we were just talking about this. I get asked all the time, how do I do all this stuff and travel? I'm married. I have 2 children. It's because I'm married. I'm with someone who's never felt the need to shrink me. And there were relationships where they were just like, oh, you got such a big personality. I want to shrink that.
Yeah. Been there.
And I didn't immediately leave. I was like, oh, yeah, get quieter. Instead of being with someone who's like, oh, I need to travel more. I mean, we'll be here when you get back. These boys are fine. I'm fine.
Amen.
You know, let me know when you check in.
I love that.
But that's it. Like, there's this whole dialogue of, you know, was I too strong? But at the end of the day, I have never heard emotionally available, strong, capable man complain about a strong woman. I've heard plenty of men in progress and many weak men complain about a strong woman. I've never heard a strong man complain about a strong woman in my life. I've never seen it happen.
That's a word.
And I'm a huge personality.
That's a word. Yeah. Well, I think because we hear growing up that relationships are about compromise and marriage is about compromise, dating. And like, yes, but I shouldn't have to compromise fundamentally on my personality as a human being to be in a relationship with
and your values. Compromise for us is, all right, now you ain't gonna be out of town every single week. Like, you know, we gotta hang out. Compromise is, okay, you pick up one kid, I pick up the other. Compromise isn't, don't get out here and over talk me, or don't show your full self. Don't shine your full light.
Don't wear this.
Don't wear this. Change the goals that you want. Like, that's not compromise. That's you trying to shrink me to fit into this mold that I was never meant to be in the first place. Like, we compromise on half and half pizza. I like cheese. You like pepperoni. We don't compromise on integrity and my values and my goals that I want to aspire to in a person. We don't compromise on that. Yeah. You know, pizza toppings, y'all, not your being.
Yes, exactly. There's
let that person have their pepperoni, but they don't get to tell you can't have your career.
No, there's limits. There's limits. Okay. You are spitting so many bars. I'm in a tizzy. But the people have written. Yeah. And they need help.
Yeah, we all do. I hope I can help you.
We all do. You can.
Dr.
You
already has a psychologist too.
For those, period. For those of you who have decided to turn the podcast back on after hearing that whole, he doesn't listen to you unless you're taking your clothes off line. Welcome back.
Y'all, that's more common than you know, y'all. Like, come on. You're okay. You're in good company. It's not just you.
Great company.
It's not just you.
Judgment-free zone.
Yes.
That Friday, 5 p.m. text, we've all gotten that.
Everyone's been like, why can't I reach them on Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's, 4th of July, Juneteenth? Yep. And then they reach out. Everyone's been there. We all dated an ashy person. He, she, and they.
Listen.
You know, like,
all the way around.
You're in good company.
360. Yeah. You haven't heard from them all week, but as soon as the sun starts to set on a Friday.
What's up, big head? What?
What you doing tonight? What you getting into? WYA. Sickening. Okay. Here goes the first one. All right. Someone said, I'm a newer podcast girly. Hey, boo. But I'm loving it here so far. So my man and I have been together for 4 years. I'm anxiously attached and he's avoidant. When we have a disagreement, I feel more at ease when the issue is addressed and resolved immediately. Otherwise, my anxiety kicks in. Growing up, my parents followed a punish now, explain later approach. So when I'm left in the dark about what's going on, I start to spiral. Meanwhile, my boyfriend needs time to process his emotions before he can communicate properly. How can I work through this past trauma so it doesn't keep affecting my relationship?
Oh, that's a really, so one, I appreciate the fact that the person acknowledges that this is a result of past trauma. Because this like brick wall that we're talking about, it doesn't mean that it can't be taken down. Like it's not a life sentence.
Yes.
So one, good on you for realizing that this is a result of my experiences, past, not what I'm dealing with currently. When it comes down to it, some people need 5 minutes. Some people need to talk immediately. Some people need a break. These people are always in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
These people are always together.
That's my boyfriend and I.
Like,
he would like to address things head on. I'm like, I need a minute.
Yeah.
I need a minute. Because I'm a Scorpio, very fiery for a water sign. He is an Aries.
Yeah.
But regardless of astrology, I am someone who I know from my past and things that I have been through that I can be very sharp with my words, if not taking a beat and choosing them carefully. And sometimes, and I don't want to react based off of emotions in the moment sometimes. I would rather, because sometimes I'll think in the minute, in the moment, like, he's fucking playing with me. He thinks that I'm fucking stupid. And then I'll take 10 minutes and I'll be like, no, he loves you.
Yeah.
He just didn't hear you when you said to take out the trash.
Or you be moving too slow. None of y'all move fast enough.
Yeah.
Now I'm married to a man, so I am speaking to every single man out there. None of y'all move fast enough.
They never do. If I say, can you do this thing? I mean, right now.
Like, what the flip? But yes, okay. So one, even what you named, understanding that you need to take the time. I mean, that shows that you've been working on that, right? Because the ability to acknowledge the fact that, like, I need to slow down. This person loves me. Trauma severs your safety. And a lot of times people who have dealt with traumatic experiences, they also have power struggles and they try to exert control because trauma stole your choice. So you try to take that control wherever you can get it.
Yep.
And trauma shapes the way not only you engage with yourself, but with others in the world. So one of the things I would tell this person is you have to remind yourself of the salience of the relationship you have with that person. You have to remind yourself that this person loves me. They're not trying to be avoidant, but we do need to slow down. There has to be compromise. But in order to do that, it sounds like they're halfway there. I'm going to be real with you. So even knowing that you need to speak immediately and they need space, it's the epitome of if you need 5 minutes, you want to talk in 5 minutes and they want to talk in 15, you talk in 10. Expressing yourself and making these I feel statements. It's like, I understand we're dealing with a difficult scenario and you need time to address it. I am feeling overwhelmed and anxious with the time you need to address it. So I need to take a minute. I need to speak to myself and acknowledge that this doesn't mean that you're disregarding me, or this doesn't mean that you don't want to be with me, or this doesn't mean that you're trying to trick me. This just means that you need time. Yeah. The same way I would expect you in this way, they're actually expecting the person, like, the person needs time. You want to rush them. If you can understand that their style isn't to speak immediately, then they can also recognize that your style is to speak immediately. I would say set some standards in terms of, like, so what's an appropriate amount of time? Yeah. Before we can address this. I do think it's important to really do the I feel statements. A lot of times people don't know what's going on in your head. So when you're lashing out, they're kind of like, what the heck is wrong? I'm feeling anxious because I really want to address this now. And I feel like if we don't address it now, maybe it's going to linger. Maybe we're going to avoid talking about it in the first place, which is a big fear. Like, if we don't talk about it now, it's never going to get talked about. Yeah. And the partner may be like, I understand you need to talk about this immediately, but I'm coming from a place where maybe previously, anytime I spoke immediately, I was an ass. So I also need to take the time that you deserve. Yeah. So that I can actually think and not be a jerk in this relationship. It could be for many reasons. Yeah. So I understand you're feeling overwhelmed. I need you to understand that, like, I'm feeling overwhelmed too. I need to some time to process. It doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it. Let's set a time when we do talk about it. Like, that whole, you need 5 minutes, I need 15, we take 10. That's real. Yeah. But it sounds like this person is already halfway there. Like, this isn't their communication style. This is mine. When we think of compromise, this is appropriate compromise, right? But I would say verbalize it. Like, don't just like, oh, I don't need to talk about anything. Say, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I feel like we're never going to discuss this. And it's really important. And then when we don't discuss it immediately, I feel disregarded, like it's not important. And maybe that's not what you intend, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Right. And they could say, it's not that it's not important. It's so important that I want to give it the time and energy it deserves. And that is not a response in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
Right. So open the communication moats or bridge and stuff like that. But, as long as you're talking about it, I think that's understandable. Most of us are not in a relationship with someone who's like, well, let's sit down and talk about it. No, we're in a relationship with someone's like, I mean, let's go eat and then we could discuss it later.
Yeah.
Or just understanding that you need to communicate that. So it sounds like they're already really in a good place. Say some messages to yourself and even query yourself about like, what is your fear with not talking about it immediately? A lot of times people think it's never going to get discussed or they think you think it's not important and I do. Or they literally are filled with anxiety because I'm afraid of what you're going to say or how you took what I said.
And sometimes it doesn't even have anything to do with you. Like,
most of the time it doesn't, because it's my previous relationship, the person who didn't mention it immediately because they were like, you're freaking out again. So they disregarded it.
Yeah.
But the way you stated, like, this person loves me.
Yes.
They just need more time.
Yes.
That's what that person needs to remind themselves. Like, I am safe.
Yeah.
This is a safe relationship. This person has not done anything to make me feel as though they care for me any less because they need time. You have to remind yourself that, because no matter what, we're bringing old things into the relationship either way. We're the result of our experiences.
Yeah.
They need to, tell them, what did you say that you tell yourself?
He loves me.
He loves me.
He does.
Yeah.
But I know, like, even on the flip side, like my boyfriend, the way that he processes his own life things, he likes to take a minute. Like he's not a emotional talker either. He's not just gonna like be like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed at work or this is happening and da da da.
Yeah.
He kind of internalizes it, processes it, and then we'll have a long conversation later when he's ready. But in the moment, sometimes for me, as someone who I feel like I'm an eldest daughter. I am the first granddaughter as well. So there's like a lot of layers on that.
Pressure over here.
Firstborn. I feel like I need to cater and like fix, like, okay, what is it? Like, what are you dealing with? What happened? Do you want to talk about it? And his thing is he'll be like, I love you. I just don't want to talk about it right now, but it has nothing to do with you. And when I'm ready to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That helps me so much because then I'm not anxious about it. I'm not like, oh my God, like he doesn't trust me with his emotions. Like, no, he loves me.
Yeah. And a lot of times people have to learn that.
Yeah.
Because especially black men are not, they're not taught to be in touch with their feelings. It's actually the opposite. They're taught to numb their feelings, which is a sign of emotional unavailability, like not being numb to feelings, not being able to share it. Black men are dehumanized and adultified and disconnected from their bodies all the time. Yeah. So the fact that they're taking the time, I don't know if this person is black, but like the fact that they're taking the time to kind of tune into their feelings, that takes work. Yeah. And I don't think we often acknowledge the amount of work that takes. Like your reframe of he loves me, that took work. There's no way that was just there. No. Right? Like with men, especially like with black men who are, it's really trained and conditioned to be disconnected from their feelings, who are really trained to only be what they can provide tangibly, like money or cash or the D. Like it's very hard. It's difficult. They have to learn that. And a lot of times they learn that the hard way. Yeah. But like, yeah, they need more time. And plus, honestly, a lot of time, and one thing that I've noticed, I know that like men and women are very different and there's no generalizations, but I have noticed that a lot of times women's processing speeds when it comes to certain things are a lot quicker. Whether that's good or bad, because one of our issues is that as women, especially black women, we do need to slow down. But like we're expecting everyone to be on our speed, right? Yes. Like that's my whole, with the moderating, I was just like, slow down. Yeah. Like thinking everyone's going to be on my processing. But we have to acknowledge that like there's not a lot of men. There's more, the younger generation, they're better with it now. But with the people that we're dating, married to, they didn't grow up being able to talk about their feelings. If anything, don't cry, don't say nothing, suck it up, get a job. Yep. And then to get in a healthy relationship, it's a 180. No, I need you to communicate with me when there's an issue. No, I do want to talk about it. You don't get to just buy me something. The problem's still here. I am going to keep this back. Yeah. The problem's still here. Hello? We do need to address it. Yeah. We have to also take that into consideration. But once again, not letting anybody off, they have to put the effort in. Right. Like once you share what you need, once you have the conversations and express yourself and it's consistently happening, that's a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a habit. A choice is intentional. Y'all talked about it.
You are right. You are right.
Don't be letting these people off the hook. You can hold people accountable while also being like, well, this has been real, but it hasn't been real fun.
Thank you.
I'm not doing this.
And then log out.
Log out. Block them. Blocking people is one of the best gifts.
It really is. It really, really is.
I think it's one of the best things they've ever done.
I agree. Okay. Someone said, ooh, hi, Kamie. Love your show. I'm going to leave your name out, even though you said you don't mind not being anonymous. But, I like to leave people's name out so that you can feel safe. I'm calling because my past trauma has been affecting my relationship. I've been with my girlfriend for almost 4 years now. We are still very much in love, but I can be avoidant and disassociate a lot. I stress a lot about finances, even though I'm comfortable. So I have a tendency to hoard money and even food because I have a scarcity mindset because of how I grew up. Please help.
Yeah, this is a really good example of how that emotional unavailability is a result of trauma and not being indifference, but being a survival strategy.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to notice the language difference because we can understand that people do things to survive.
Yeah.
So we also have a bit more empathy in that scenario. We also know that a lot of those things are automatic. Once again, someone who's already pretty good because they recognize that this is an issue in the first place. If you've been with someone for 4 years, I'm going to assume that they also know that this is an issue. Open the dialogue and the communication. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I am pretty hypervigilant and I'm very East Coast. So I don't really trust most people.
Yeah.
And I had to make an intentional decision last year to be like, I've had the same friends for forever, but to make a decision to be like, I'm going to make more friends in 2024. Like, I'm going to reach out to people and we're going to hang out and have lunch. But it was a result of East Coast, what are you talking to me for?
Yeah.
I've had the same 4 friends for my whole life. I don't need any more. Why? What do you mean building new experiences? It's embedded in me. You have to be intentional about that. I would say open the lines of dialogue about the discomfort. And then when it comes to the financial part, I think it's really important to think about what you're saving for, what your limits are, what your numbers are, right? With my husband, he's an accountant. So it's always about savings.
Yeah.
And I was talking about spending something. And he's like, oh, we put more money in savings. And I said, so what are we saving for? Because not only do we have, I know I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Not only do we have the sinking fund and the regular sinking fund, didn't know we need to have 2 until I married an accountant, but the sinking fund, the regular sinking fund, the kids' joint savings, our individual savings, and our individual and joint checking. What are we doing?
Yeah, where's the silly goofy fund?
What are we doing? And I was just like, what are we saving for? And she's like, to save, sir. Absolutely not. But it's a different mindset. He's an accountant.
It is.
His whole dynamic is why. Mine is why not.
Yeah. And if you're dating somebody who grew up with a knowledge of money and then versus someone who didn't, even though I grew up wealthy.
Yeah.
I grew up with my parents doing very, very well for themselves, but I did not really understand money because growing up having money, they didn't instill okay, these are everything that you need to know about investing. This is everything you need to know about your personal finances.
Pretty common.
Yes, because they're like, we have built it. Yay, our kids get to experience it and enjoy it, which is great. But
it also does a disservice to the kids a lot of times.
It also does a disservice.
Yeah.
And then my boyfriend, who did not grow up with money, he's from West Philly, born and raised per.
I'm gonna say, yeah,
he didn't grow up with it, but he has made it his business to understand everything about money.
Because he's never gonna go without money again.
Exactly.
But we have to figure out what our numbers are, right? One of the most, he's awful. I can't even listen to his music, of course. But Kanye West mentioned having money is not everything, not having it is. It is though. As someone who, I grew up in North Philly, grew up in Nicetown, some people overcorrect. Either they spend it all or they're like, I'm not spending anything, right?
Yeah.
Being open about that in communication in your relationship so they can also help you. Because one of the biggest protective factors when it comes to mental health difficulties and struggle is a strong support system. I say all the time, therapy does not have a monopoly on healing. It's not the only path to healing, whether it's therapy or yoga or church. Either way, it's going to be paved with community. So one of the things that helps you to recognize when there's an issue and help you to work through the issue is that support of that partner. So when they notice hey, once I know you're working on this whole scarcity thing and we're working on it together. You have me as a support system. We have all these extra food. You're hiding foods. I want you to recognize that you're safe.
Yes.
Because that's the biggest thing, like in both questions, safety. You're safe. We decided that in order to feel comfortable, a reasonable expectation is to have, 3 months salary in sinking funds account. Or the reasonable expectation is to have 1 Costco box of food.
Yes.
Now, we decided that this was appropriate. We both talked about it. So when we're in the store, like, we're not getting that other Costco box. It's going to be difficult, but I'm going to support you in this.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about spending money, we reached what we thought was appropriate for savings limit. So I want you to spend some of that on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Come up with the numbers, but have the support, because there's no reason you should have to do it alone.
Yeah.
About what that is. It's understandable. It's understandable that, like, you have a fear, but use the support system you have. Have a conversation. Okay, so, like, I'm adding more money to the savings because I'm feeling incredibly uncomfortable, especially right now. Like, people are losing their jobs left and right. So I'm saving more money because I'm concerned about what might happen. Totally understand. That's a reasonable expectation. What do we decide is more appropriate to put in the savings so that we're also able to live our life?
Yeah.
Because we're not here to just work and pay bills. Money does provide us some aspect of freedom. I want you to feel comfortable, but I also want you to live your life. You get all this money because you're working hard for this money and you're not spending it on anything for you. Yeah. Have the conversation. Figure out what your guidelines are, stick to that. And when you miss the guidelines, when you still hoard the money and stuff, be ready for that conversation too. Because when I'm dealing with my clients and we're setting goals, one of the first conversations with that is, and let's also talk about what happens when you miss your goal. Like, when you decide you're going to plug your phone up and it's downstairs instead of doom scrolling, let's also talk about the first time where you don't do that. Yeah. Because it's not like, oh, I ate 1 chip, so I need to have like 50 bags because I already missed my goal. I want you to get comfortable with the thought process of you are going to miss that part of that goal. Yeah. You say you're not going to answer the phone after 5. Let's talk about what happens when you answer the phone after 5 at 5:30. Yeah. So that
it's ingrained.
It's ingrained. Like, think about, like, I'm 36. We need to think about the time it takes to build these habits. I say this to my clients all the time. They're like, okay, so how long is it going to take to break down this habit? Well, I mean, you're 25. Yeah. I'm going to say you spent a good decade building this. I think you can give me more than 8 weeks to work on to work on breaking it down. Like, I mean, I don't have a magic wand. Think about it that way. When you're setting goals, also think about not only the goal and the importance and how you're going to meet that goal. Think about what happens the first time you miss it. Yeah. So that you're not thrown off. And then you're also like, I planned for this. Yeah. When you put that money aside and you hide it under your mattress and stuff like that, take a breath. Yeah. Realize I said I'm not going to do this anymore. Take it out, put it in the account, or go buy something. Yeah. But have the communication. Half these people are already halfway there. The fact that you can recognize this is a thing and you're not saying, I don't know where this is coming from. Yeah. But spending money makes me want to rip my face off. Like, I'm so scared of it. Yes. I don't know where it's coming from. The fact that you take your partner into consideration, you're talking about the fact that trauma is coming up. You're already halfway there. Think about the steps that you need to increase that comfort. And it can be difficult because maybe your partner doesn't know about that. You're going to have to get to that point. You shouldn't be dealing with this alone. That's one of the best things about, like, a healthy, salient relationship. Yes, we can do so many things alone, but I don't want to. Don't want to. Ever again. I don't want to. Ever again. I'm sure I could find a nanny if it was just me with my kids, to come with me and travel with me. I don't want to. I could do a lot of things. I don't want to. I'm sure I could cook all the meals. No interest. Yeah. My husband can cook too. So that's one of the best parts. Use the support system that you have. And if you find in either of these scenarios that you're not getting the support that you deserve, and you guys talked about it, you communicated, and they're still not showing up, do not waste your present on our future that may never come. We've been together for years. Yeah. I don't want to waste that time. You have forever to never see him again. Yeah. Oop. And that was actually, what song is that? That's Elle Varner. That's an Elle Varner song. You have forever to never see them again.
We need to actually have that on repeat around here, because that would help. That would help a lot of people. This one is on the heavier side. So trigger warning to anyone listening. This is a question about abuse. Okay. Okay, someone said, I would like to remain anonymous as I don't really speak about this with many people for reasons I will go into. Trigger warning, abuse. My personal trauma is making me so non-committal that I don't even know what to do about it. I'm turning 30 on March 31st. Happy birthday. And I'm realizing that I am actually petrified to be in a committed relationship. I was sexually abused by a male cousin from 3 to 7-ish. I can't really remember when it ended. I was later sexually abused by my husband, and our relationship ultimately led to a separation because of a physical altercation that I had to go to physical therapy for 6 months to heal from. I am so sorry. There was basically every form of abuse in our relationship. We're still legally married because he wants me to pay for the divorce, but I have been getting myself back into a place where I can support myself and treat myself after all that bullshit. I've been casually dating in the past 4 years and have been separated, and at first, I blamed not wanting to be in a relationship because I was still legally married, but recently realized I'm actually afraid to be close to someone again because what if they do the same thing to me? I found a trauma specialist therapist almost 2 years ago and hoping to discuss this, but she basically brushes everything off, even though I have expressed having flashbacks and paranoia because of this. Obviously, I am breaking up with her, too. Exactly. Thank God. But like, girl, I don't know what the next step is. I really don't have the funds to divorce this man. But more importantly to me right now, I need to find a means of therapy that can actually give me tasks and actionable ways to go about dealing with this, instead of just talking about my feelings or yes-manning me. So please, my girl Kamie, what should I do? What kind of therapy or life coaching or something do I need? Signed, a woman who just wants to be fine and flirty and free in her 30s.
Yeah. One, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yes. My Shayla, I want to give you a hug.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. Fire that clinician.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
And I don't think enough people report bad clinicians. We're licensed for a reason. We keep our licenses by not causing harm, by keeping up with our continuing education and stuff like that, but not causing harm. If you feel as though someone like objective, I mean, honestly, it's up to the board to decide if to the extent of it. So I think more people should be reported. So you shouldn't keep this license. But I also want to praise you for all of the work that you've done. Everyone who sent questions, like, good on you for doing the work in that realm.
Yeah.
It's okay to be afraid to jump into a relationship. One, there are so many different types of trauma-informed care. There's EMDR. There's trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. There's also a lot of clinicians who operate in an eclectic approach of providing you with tangible skills while also like honoring the intersection of your identity, and especially like the multi-level of traumas. Like, you were assaulted multiple times as a child and also as an adult. Child-on-child abuse doesn't get discussed enough. But a lot of times when you have experienced trauma as a child, part of you was kind of developmentally stuck in that stage, right? So say there's a specific stage where at a certain age, kids get better with trusting other people, and they also get better with communication. But part of your mindset and part of your brain is kind of stuck in that realm where you experience that trauma because it severs your safety and it severs your development in some way, shape, or form, right? So you can have difficulty expressing yourself. It's one of the reasons why when children are traumatized, they often regress. Like, there could be children who were previously potty trained and then they regress to no longer being able to like be potty trained because, you're stuck in this one stage. So one, definitely find a licensed mental health professional. Two, if you feel comfortable, I find that like one of the most difficult parts is also working on this in isolation. Support groups can be incredibly helpful in this realm because it's not only the aspect of dealing with the difficulties, it's also the aspect of feeling like no one else has ever dealt with it and having to heal in isolation. Once again, like, community will pave every single path to healing. So you can also look for support groups, and support groups are typically lower cost. So they can be virtual and they can be in person. But also one of the things you're probably going to have to do is like take small steps to increasing like your vulnerability and your level of intimacy with the people that you're trying to build longer term relationships. And this isn't just romantic relationships, it's also friendships, right? Because other than certain level of like physical intimacy with your romantic partner, friendships and romantic relationships are the same exact thing. So maybe you're not in a space currently to try to like go all in and building that aspect of comfort with romantic relationships. Maybe you can start with your friendships, right? Like you mentioned the fact that it's not something that you talk about often. Maybe you do baby steps of sharing little tidbits of yourself with people that you're comfortable with. And then they show you that they're able to heal it. They hear it. They show you that they're able to support it. Because if something severs your safety, like if you say it's like a bridge that was broken and they rebuild it, you probably gonna take like little steps
right to make sure
to make sure it's still safe. So that doesn't solely have to be romantic relationships. You can start building your comfort with your friends so that you can know that this is safe. Like one of the good things about therapy is not only the fact that like you're working with someone who's focused on you. Therapy is the only relationship that's not going to be reciprocal. Every good relationship is going to be give and take.
Yeah.
But you're also able to model what an appropriate response would be, right? Like I will have patients who they have difficult relationships with men, or they've been harmed with men before. So they're like, I only want to see a woman because I feel safe, or I want to see a male as a clinician because they can also provide me with an example of an appropriate response that a man can have. Therapy can be healing in so many ways, not solely because of the expertise that we have, but it's a therapeutic relationship. Like we're also going to model appropriate responses, right? So think about friendships in that way too.
Yeah.
Think about baby steps in building relationships with others too. Take the time to share something. It doesn't have to be a big thing about your trauma, but you can share like a disagreement that you've had with someone. See how that person responds, that romantic relationship, the person you're dating or the friend, how they support you or don't. Because if they don't, maybe that's not someone you want to build with, but how they support that little bit of giving yourself to them, and then add on, right? Because the biggest thing is you're afraid, rightfully so. You've dealt with so many different abuses. So you have to build up that trust again. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make any sense for you to jump into anything head on. You have every single right to protect yourself in the many ways that you've been harmed. So do little tidbits, like do little things about sharing. It could be something as simple as like, I don't know, the other day I like tripped and fell on my face. That's still vulnerable. Yeah. In my opinion. Yeah. And like see how someone like responds to that. Like, do they make fun of you? Do they laugh it off? Do they ask if you're okay? Then they're showing like little tidbits of like, okay,
I'm
like
safe here.
I'm safe here.
Yeah.
You have to build that safety, and that's okay. And anyone who's trying to push that, they're not the person for you, right? Because safety and respect go hand in hand. So they have to respect the speed that you're able to go at, and it's okay for you to go at a slower speed. You have been violated in so many different ways. You're allowed to go at your own pace. Don't feel as though you have to rush it, right? Because I'm dealing with a lot of individuals. One of the things you're dealing with is grief. You're probably grieving who you were before that. So many times my clients will be like, I just want to get to the person I was before the trauma, before the breakup, before all of that. And I want you to understand that person does not exist. We're the result of our experiences. Your job is to work on loving yourself and providing yourself with compassion to the new person that you are, right? Most of us are going to be grieving for a significant amount of our life. My sister is sick, and I will be grieving for the rest of my life. Like that's a relationship that I will always grieve. Like she's still present. She's amazing. She's awesome, but she's disabled. So like, as long as I'm breathing, I will be grieving, right? Part of me getting better, like, cause that's what sent me to therapy in the first place. Part of me getting better was acknowledging that like, there's always going to be a little hint of sadness at times, right? One, it shows me how much love that I have for my sister. Two, it shows me how much I'm intentional with my relationships and making sure, and I hang up with everybody. They all know I love them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But three, acknowledging that instead of trying to push it down, just being like, oh, this is a very happy moment. I'm also a little sad, but that doesn't take away from the happiness. Your job is going to be loving the person who you are, through the pits, the peaks, and the valleys, and realizing that you were hurt, so you take more time. But it also means you likely take more care. You're likely more intentional with your relationship, so you want to work on that. There's nothing wrong with gatekeeping your heart and taking the time to build that salient relationship, because the people who do make it, the people who do build that trust with you, you know they earned it. You've worked with them on that.
Yeah.
But kudos to you, because being able to acknowledge it, don't rush yourself. I think I think she said, I don't know if it's a she, you said something about like, I just want to get there quicker. No.
Yeah.
You get there when you get there. It's your journey. The good thing about setting like your goals, your finish line, is that it's your finish line. Like I decided to move it 10 feet away, and today I decided to move it 8 feet closer. It's mine. I can do what the heck I want to do with
There's
it.
No rules.
There's no rules. That's all it is. So take the time. I think building friendships though is also a really good way to kind of make you feel more comfortable in romantic relationships, because my girls, those my boobs.
Listen, my soulmates.
Soulmates.
I talk to them about things I would never talk to my man about.
Exactly. So it's the trust piece. Like what you're working on is building trust. Build trust in your friendships and that. Build trust in your romantic relationships too. But if you feel the need to slow down, slow down. Yeah. Also utilize some grounding exercises. The same way you mentioned, like, he loves me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, you have to remind yourself that you're safe. Yeah. If you have to also come up with exit strategies, come up with exit strategies. This is why the individual who had the question about the scarcity, that's their exit strategy,
mm-hmm.
right? Like that's their safety net. There's nothing wrong with having a safety net. I'm not the clinician who's going to be like, oh, well, you just believe in everyone. No. Safety nets are there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, training wheels are there for a reason. I'm not going to have my 2-year-old on a 2-wheel bike take that child away from me.
Right,
CPS
exactly.
will probably be called. You know what I'm saying? They're there for a reason. So like decide like, okay, I don't want to go on full on dates because I actually don't want to be in a space with someone that long. Let's do a coffee date.
Right.
I feel comfortable like seeing you for 10 minutes. I don't want to meet anyone in person yet. I actually kind of just want to do the phone. I actually am only trying to date because I think I need to move on. But when in all actuality, is there anything I'm trying to get from a romantic relationship right now? Do you just think that you need a romantic relationship? Or do you want some kind of comfort and care? You can also get that from friendships.
Yeah.
Right. So that, and then also every relationship doesn't have to be like a life altering relationship. You could just want to go on a date with one person and you're just like, I'm good for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
That's it. So like take the steps you want to. But I do find with a lot of my clients who have dealt with trauma, we actually try to work on the friendships first because that transfers over. Like, okay, well, I met a new friend and they were cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I can go on a date.
Yeah.
And some people really think this finish line is like, you know, they mentioned 30s. I know 30s is supposed to be fun. People think it's the 20s. It's not.
Yeah.
30s is like,
it's not
lit.
It is.
So
it is.
You may also think like, I'm supposed to be dating and having fun. You can date yourself. You can have fun with your friends. You can come up with a new hobby. You can have a new task that you do just for fun. That's not monetized, that you're doing you can get to know yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
And have more compassion for yourself. So take your time. You can find, but EMDR is a therapeutic orientation a lot of people use for therapy. Look for trauma-informed care. On my website, there's a Finding a Therapist Guide, and it's a document that has resources for finding clinicians, but it also has resources for asking questions. Because a lot of times you can get a therapy consultation. I think of it like a therapy sample. It's like it's 20 to 30 minutes, and you're asking questions to see if that's the right person for you. So ask questions if they've ever had experience with working with someone who's had assault, someone who suffered from trauma. Have you ever worked with what's your opinion on the way trauma impacts relationships? These are really valid questions to ask before you sign up for that copay.
Yeah. That part.
You know, it's so...
Especially if you're on reoccurring payment.
Especially if you're on a reoccurring payment, you know? So like,
yes.
They're going to be picking your brain. Therapists are going to be picking your brain about how, you know, you feel. You need to ask them how they think.
Yeah.
Because that's what everything in therapy is based on. So ask the questions, ask for consultation sessions. I know it sucks. It's never one and done with clinicians. I had to fire psychologists as well that were seeing me because it just didn't work. But you deserve someone who doesn't invalidate your pain and tell you to just like think happy thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Y'all.
I'm also a violent East Coast. I like automatically was like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. I hope it was virtual and she said that shit.
But you deserve that care. Do a therapy consultation and ask questions before signing up with someone else to see like what you would kind of test the waters. And therapy consultations are typically free. 20 to 30 minutes on the phone. Yeah. Ask the questions. There's a free Finding a Therapist guide on my website.
I love that. You guys, besties, thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to write these things in. There are
really
so many
good
we
questions.
didn't get into, but like these were incredible, and your advice is incredible. So if people want to find you and follow you and book with you potentially, where can they find you?
So it's Raquel Martin PhD everywhere. My website is www.raquelmartinphd. My Instagram is Raquel Martin PhD. My TikTok is Raquel Martin PhD. TikTok is really just me kicking it though. Yeah.
You have to have a safe space somewhere
with the youth. The youth just kick it. TikTok, I'm just like kicking it. Yeah. Threads and all that. And then my podcast, the Mind Your Mental podcast. Anywhere you find podcasts, we're in a break right now, but we're going into season 4. But yeah, I'm pretty accessible. I also have a bunch of free resources on my website. Like even there's a resource about a coping kit, like an ebook about like here are some resources just to build your kit of skills and resources. We do live in the information age, but it's a lot of information out there. Yeah. And sometimes it's just easier to be like, I'm just going to look at this ebook. It doesn't mean that you're not doing what you should be doing, but it's exhausting to be like, okay, Dr. Google. Yeah. You know, like, it's like you put your symptoms in WebMD and it's like, I have a cough. And WebMD is like, and it'll be your last.
And now you have the bubonic plague. And
so like, you're
on your last days.
It feels like a lot because it is a lot. So yeah, you can find me everywhere, Raquel Martin PhD.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun. I love
you.
this set.
No,
I love you back.
You know, we keep it cute around here.
It's super cute. I'm over here typically in my office knocking away bottles and stuff, just being like, all right, go.
Yeah,
Riverside.
I mean, secretly, so am I. That's why we film at a remote location. Thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you everyone for sending. These are great questions because I'm sure that someone can relate to something. But take your time. You're not going to be the person you were previously. We're the result of our experiences. But you can work every single day on loving the new you with everything. And I feel like that's all we all need to do anyway. And if they don't love you, tell them to kick rocks and no socks. You don't have to be stuck with anybody.
Thank you.
Like,
mic drop. Bye.
Bye.